Hey, my friends, let's get real for a moment. You're scrolling through your phone, seeing guys with perfect jawlines, flashy cars, and women hanging off their arms like they're living some Hollywood script. And you? Maybe you're sitting there after a long day, wondering why your last date ghosted you or why that argument with your girl left you feeling like a damn failure. Sound familiar? Here's the kicker. You're not alone, and this chaos you're feeling, it's not the end of the story. The Stoic philosophers tell us something brutal but liberating. Control is an internal game. That's right, dear viewer. What's tearing you up isn't her silence or that guy's Instagram flex. It's how you're letting it mess with your head. Let's break this down. You've been chasing this idea that if you just say the right thing, wear the right shirt or flex your status hard enough, she'll stick around, or the world will finally give you a nod of approval. But here's where Stoicism steps in with a cold, hard truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Marcus Aurelius, that old Roman badass, said it himself, life is what your thoughts make it. So why are you letting a flaky text or a rejection spin you out? The Stoics would look at you and say, brother, you're fighting the wrong battle. Picture this, you're out with a woman, things are going fine, and then she throws a curveball. Maybe she's pissed you didn't read her mind about where to eat, or she's testing you with some offhand comment about your job. Your gut reaction? You tense up, start over-explaining, or worse, you get mad and ruin the night. Been there? Yeah, me too. But Stoic wisdom cuts through that noise like a blade. It says, stop, breathe. You can't control her mood, her words, or whether she's secretly judging your sneakers. What you can control is how you respond. That's the game, my friend, the internal one. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. Hell, it's not. We're wired to react, to feel that sting when someone we want doesn't want us back. But the Stoics? They tell us that sting is just a signal, not a sentence. Epictetus, another one of those bearded geniuses, put it plain. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So, next time she doesn't text back, or that buddy of yours brags about his latest conquest while you're striking out, don't let it own you. Ask yourself, what's in my power here? Hint, it's not her phone, and it's damn sure not your buddy's loud mouth. Let's talk about a guy I know, call him Jake. Jake's a solid dude, works hard, but he used to lose his mind every time a woman pulled away. One time, this girl he was seeing just stopped replying. No fight, no explanation, just radio silence. Old Jake would have spiraled. Texted her a dozen times, vented to anyone who'd listen, maybe even downed a few too many beers to numb it. But then he stumbled onto this Stoic idea, accept what you can't change. He told me later, man, I just sat there, stared at my phone, and thought, okay, she's gone. I can't force her to care, but I can decide what I do next. That shift, that's power. That's the kind of strength that doesn't need a six-pack or a fat wallet to back it up. See, dear viewer, modern dating's a mess. Ghosting, mixed signals, all that pressure to be the alpha or whatever the hell they're calling it now. And yeah, it's tempting to think if you could just crack the code, you'd win. But Stoicism flips that script. It's not about winning her, it's about winning yourself. Imagine walking away from a bad date, not fuming or doubting your worth, but calm, steady, knowing you did what you could and the rest, that's fate's call, not yours. That's attractive, my friend. Not because it's loud or flashy, but because it's real. Here's where it gets practical. Next time you're caught up in some relationship drama, say she's mad, or you're mad, or the whole thing's just a tangle, try this. Step back. Literally take a second. Feel that heat in your chest, that urge to fix it or fight it. Let it sit there. Don't act on it yet. The Stoics called this the discipline of assent. Don't just roll with every impulse like a dog chasing its tail. Instead, ask, what's actually happening here? What can I control? Maybe she's upset because she had a crap day, nothing to do with you. Maybe she's not into you, and that's her choice. Either way, your job isn't to bend the universe to your will. It's to keep your head straight. And look, I get it. This sounds high and mighty, like some monk on a mountain bullshit. But it's not. It's gritty. It's you, staring down the chaos of a text thread gone cold or a night that didn't end how you hoped, and saying, I've got this. Not because I can change her, but because I can change me. That's the Stoic flex, my friends, not muscles or money, but a mind that doesn't break when the world does its thing. So, dear viewer, where does this leave you? Right here with a choice. You can keep chasing that illusion, the one where you think the right move or the perfect line will lock it all down. Or you can start playing the real game, the internal one. The Stoic philosophers tell us it's the only one that matters. Because when you master that, when you stop letting the outside world yank you around like a puppet, something shifts. You stand taller. You speak clearer. And yeah, funny thing, people notice. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because you're not. All right, my friends, let's dive into the muck of it now. You've been there, haven't you? Lying awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, replaying that last conversation with her in your head like a broken record. Did I say too much? Too little? Should I have called her out on that weird vibe she was giving off? Or maybe you're checking your bank account, wincing at the cash you dropped on dinners and drinks, chasing some spark that fizzled out anyway. Worse yet, there's that gnawing feeling, like you've lost a piece of yourself trying to impress her, to keep her, to prove you're enough. Dear viewer, that's the trap. Losing sleep, losing money, and losing dignity chasing external validation. The Stoics? They'd call that a lie you've bought into, and it's time to destroy it. Here's the scene. You're into this woman, things are rolling along, and then bam, she pulls back. Maybe she cancels plans last minute with some half-baked excuse, or she's suddenly busy all the time. Your brain kicks into overdrive. You start thinking, what did I do wrong? How do I fix this? Next thing you know, you're texting her some needy nonsense, or you're scrolling her socials trying to decode why she likes some other dude's post. Sound familiar? That's the illusion of control, my friend, and it's got you by the throat. The Stoic philosophers tell us, peel that back, strip it down. What's really happening here isn't about her. It's about you believing your worth hinges on her approval. Let's get brutal with it. According to Stoic wisdom, you're not a puppet on her strings. Marcus Aurelius would sit you down and say, you're disturbing yourself with this fantasy that her actions define you. Destroy the lie, dear viewer. The lie is that if she doesn't text back, if she doesn't laugh at your jokes, if she doesn't see you as the man you want to be, then you're somehow less. Peel back that illusion, and what's left? The raw truth. Her choices, her mood, her interest, they're not yours to command. And chasing them? That's a one-way ticket to misery. Think about it like this. Imagine you're at a bar, and you spot her across the room. You muster up the courage, walk over, strike up a conversation. It's going well until it's not. She excuses herself, and you're left standing there, drink in hand, feeling like a fool. Old you might have spiraled. Lost sleep over why she bailed, spent cash buying rounds to look cool next time, or ditched your dignity begging for another shot. But the Stoic in you, he steps up different. He says, all right, that happened. What's in my power now? You can't make her stay. You can't force her to like you. But you can walk away with your head high, knowing your value doesn't live in her eyes. Here's where the practice kicks in. Destroy the lies, peel back the illusions. Next time you feel that itch to chase, to fix, to prove something, stop dead in your tracks. Take a breath, hell, take two. Ask yourself, what am I running after here? The Stoics called this the art of reasoning, and it's your weapon. Say she's gone cold, and you're tempted to fire off a hey, you okay? Text just to get a response. Don't. Sit with that urge instead. Feel it claw at you, then let it go. Epictetus would nod and say, "You're free the moment you stop clinging to what's not yours to hold." I knew a guy, let's call him Tom. Tom was a wreck over this girl he'd been seeing. She'd flake on plans, leave him hanging, and he'd twist himself into knots trying to figure out why. One night, he's pacing his apartment, phone in hand, ready to send some long, desperate message. But then he caught himself. He'd been reading some Stoic stuff, lucky bastard, and he thought, wait, what's the lie here? The lie was that her flakiness meant he wasn't good enough. Peel that back, and he saw it. She was just being herself, and he was the one losing sleep over it. So he put the phone down, went to bed. Next day he felt lighter. Not because she came around, she didn't, but because he stopped handing her the reins to his peace. That's the shift, my friends. You're not here to chase validation like some dog after a bone. Modern dating's full of traps, ghosting, games, all that noise, and it's easy to think your job is to crack the code, to win her over. But Stoicism says, bullshit. Your job is to win you over. Destroy the lie that her approval is your paycheck. Peel back the illusion that your dignity lives in her hands. You've been losing sleep over a woman who's already checked out, dropping cash on a vibe that's not mutual, bending over backwards for a nod that never comes. Why? Because you've tied your strength to something you can't control. Let's make it real. Picture this, you're on a date, and she's throwing mixed signals, hot one minute, cold the next. You feel that pull to overcompensate, to say something slick or funny to reel her back in. Don't do it. The Stoic philosophers tell us, stay steady. You don't need to perform like a circus act to prove your worth. If she's into you, she'll show it. If not, that's her call, and it's not a verdict on you. Walk away clean. No groveling, no second guessing. That's the kind of strength that doesn't shout, it just stands there solid. And yeah, it stings sometimes. You're human, not a damn robot. When you care about someone and they don't care back, it's a gut punch. But here's the Stoic twist. That pain is not your enemy. It's just a signal. Your mind saying, hey, I wanted that. Acknowledge it, sure, but don't let it run the show. Seneca would tell you straight, you're not suffering because she left. You're suffering because you think you need her to stay. Destroy that lie, my friend. Peel back that illusion. What's left is you, still standing, still whole. So, dear viewer, next time you're caught in that spiral, losing sleep over a seen message, draining your wallet on a chase that's going nowhere, or feeling small because she didn't pick you, hit pause. The Stoics have your back. They're whispering in your ear, this isn't the game. The game's in here. Tap your chest. That's where it happens. Not in her inbox, not in your bank account, not in some fleeting glance she might throw your way. Destroy the lies, peel back the illusions, and watch how fast you stop losing what matters most, yourself. All right, my friends, let's cut to the chase. You've been through the ringer, rejections, arguments, that sinking feeling when you realize she's just not that into you. Maybe you've even caught yourself pretending it doesn't sting, brushing it off with a laugh or a beer, only to feel it fester later. Dear viewer, here's where we turn the page. The Stoics would grab you by the shoulders and say, this mess? It's meant to wake you up, not to torture you, not to break you, but to shove you face first into the kind of brutal self-honesty that builds a man they can't ignore. This is the third act, cultivating Stoic virtue, and it's about facing the mirror, no flinching, no excuses. Picture this, you're sitting there after a date that went south. She smiled, sure, but her eyes were elsewhere. Distracted, maybe bored. You're tempted to spin it. Tell yourself she was just tired, or you didn't get the chance to show your best side. But hold up. The Stoic philosophers tell us, stop playing that rigged game. That game where you dodge the truth to protect your ego. It's a trap. Instead, lean into it. Ask yourself, raw and unfiltered, what's really going on here? Maybe you were off your game, talked too much, listened too little. Maybe she's not the one, and you've been ignoring the signs. That sting you feel? It's not punishment. It's a wake-up call. This is where brutal self-honesty kicks in, my friend, and it's not for the faint-hearted. According to Stoic wisdom, you've got power over your mind, not outside events, so use it. Stop papering over the cracks with half-truths. Let's say you've been chasing this woman for weeks, bending over backwards, texting first every time, planning dates she barely shows up for. You tell yourself, she's just busy. Or, I'll win her over eventually. Bullshit. Peel that back. Be brutal. Is she really into you? Or are you clinging to a fantasy because you're scared of being alone? The Stoics would say, face that fear. Stare it down. That's how you build the virtue of courage, not by flexing in a bar fight, but by owning your reality. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's not some masochistic guilt trip where you sit there hating yourself for screwing up. No. The Stoics aren't about that. Marcus Aurelius would tell you straight, you're not here to judge yourself into the ground. You're here to see clearly. So, yeah, maybe you misread her signals on that date. Maybe you came on too strong or not strong enough. Fine. See it. Name it. Then move the hell on. That's emotional discipline in action. Feeling the hit, but not letting it own you. Let's make it real. Imagine you're in a relationship and it's rocky. She's pulling away, snapping at you over nothing, and you're stuck wondering why it's all gonna shit. Your first instinct? Blame her. She's moody, she's unreasonable, she's the problem. But the Stoic in you pauses, takes a breath, asks, what's my part in this? Maybe you've been distracted lately, not really hearing her. Maybe you've let resentment build up instead of saying what's on your mind. Brutal self-honesty means owning that, not to grovel but to know. Because once you know, you can act. You can decide. Fix it or walk away clean. Either way, you're not a victim anymore. Here's a story for you. I knew a guy, let's call him Mike. Mike was hooked on this girl who kept him dangling, hot one day, cold the next. He'd vent to me, she's driving me crazy, man. I don't get it. One night, after she bailed on plans again, he snapped. Not at her, but at himself. He grabbed a notebook, wrote down every excuse he'd made for her, every time he'd ignored the red flags. Then he read it back and laughed. Grimly, sure, but it was a laugh. I've been an idiot, he said. That was his wake-up. He didn't text her again. Didn't need to. The truth set him loose, and he started showing up different. Calmer, sharper, like a man who'd shed a weight. That's the beauty of this, dear viewer. The Stoics teach us that every stumble, every gut punch in a relationship, it's a chance to grow. It's meant to wake you up, not drag you down. But you've got to practice it. Next time you're reeling, say she ghosts you or you bomb a date, don't run from it. Sit with it. Grab a coffee. Stare out the window and ask, what's the lie I'm telling myself here? Maybe it's I'm not enough. Or if I just try harder, she'll come around. Call it out. Rip it up. Replace it with what's real. You're a man in progress, and her opinion doesn't write your story. And look, this isn't a one-and-done deal. Brutal self-honesty isn't a light switch you flip. It's a muscle you build. Some days you'll nail it. You'll catch yourself mid-spiral, laugh at your own nonsense, and pivot like a champ. Other days, you'll slip, chase that validation, dodge that mirror. That's fine. The Stoics weren't perfect either. Seneca had his moods. Epictetus had his struggles. What matters is you keep at it. Every time you choose truth over comfort, you're forging something: virtue, strength, the kind of emotional discipline that doesn't crack when she walks out the door. Let's talk payoff because there's a hell of a one. When you stop playing the rigged game, stop twisting yourself into knots to avoid the hard stuff, you start showing up different. Imagine walking into a room, not scanning for her approval, not second-guessing every word. You're just there. Solid. She might notice, she might not. Doesn't matter. You're not fishing for her nod anymore, because you've got your own. That's attractive, my friend. Not in some cheesy pickup artist way, but in a way that sticks. People feel it when a man knows himself, flaws and all. So how do you do this? Start small. Next time you feel that knot in your gut, say she cancels last minute, or you're kicking yourself over something you said, don't dodge it. Lean in. Ask, what's this telling me? Write it down if you have to, like Mike did. Get it out of your head and onto the table where you can see it. Then decide, what's in my power? Maybe it's letting her go. Maybe it's owning your mistake and doing better next time. Whatever it is, act on it. Not out of panic, but out of clarity. That's the Stoic move. Dear viewer, this wake-up call? It's yours to answer. The Stoic philosophers tell us it's not the chaos of dating that defines you. It's what you do with it. Brutal self-honesty isn't pretty. It's not soft. But damn, it's liberating. You'll lose the lies, sure, but you'll gain something better. A mind that's yours, a strength that's real. And the next time she throws you a curveball or life does, you won't just dodge it. You'll catch it, look it in the eye and say, all right, what's next? All right, my friends, we've walked through the fire together, unpacked the chaos of modern dating, torn down the lies of control, and faced the mirror with brutal honesty. Now, dear viewer, we're standing at the edge of something bigger. This is the fourth act, the Stoic endgame. Realize this and you will find strength. It's not a catchphrase, it's a damn revelation. The Stoic philosophers tell us that once you grasp this, once you shift your focus from the shaky ground of external validation to the rock-solid core of internal strength, you'll find something unshakable. Stillness. Peace. The kind of calm that doesn't flinch when she walks away or the world throws a punch. Let's dig in. Imagine this. You've been seeing someone and it's been a roller coaster. One day she's all in, laughing at your dumb jokes, texting you goodnight. The next, she's distant, leaving you on read, making you wonder where you stand. Your gut's churning, your mind's racing. Asterisk, what's she thinking? Did I screw up? How do I get her back? Asterisk sound familiar. That's the old you, scrambling for her approval like it's oxygen. But here's where Stoic wisdom drops the hammer. Realize this and you will find strength. Realize what? That her affection, her attention, her opinion, they're not your foundation. They're just weather, my friend. Sometimes sunny, sometimes a storm. Your job isn't to chase the clouds away. It's to build a house that stands either way. The Stoics would sit you down and say, look, you're a man, not a weather vane. Epictetus put it blunt as hell. You're troubled not by things, but by the views you take of them. So she's pulling back, fine. She doesn't see your worth, okay. That's her lens, her call, her loss. But you don't need her nod to know you're enough. That's the shift, dear viewer, focusing on internal strength instead of external validation. It's not about flexing for her or anyone else. It's about standing tall for yourself. And when you do, something wild happens. You stop twitching every time your phone doesn't buzz. You stop measuring your day by her mood. You get still. Let's paint a picture. You're out with her, and it's one of those nights. She's throwing curveballs, maybe picking a fight over something small, like you didn't compliment her enough. Old you would have jumped through hoops, apologized too fast, tried to smooth it over, anything to keep the vibe alive. But the Stoic in you? He's different. You feel that heat rising, sure. Anger, frustration, that itch to fix it. But you pause. You breathe. You think, what's in my power here? Not her words, not her temper. Just you. So you look her in the eye, speak calm and clear. Maybe you say, I hear you, but I'm not here to argue over this. And you mean it. She might storm off, she might soften up. Doesn't matter. You're steady. That's internal strength, my friend, and it radiates. Here's the kicker. This isn't about being cold or shutting down. It's not some robotic, I don't care act. No, the Stoics were human. They felt the sting of loss, the pull of desire. Marcus Aurelius wrote about wrestling his own mind daily. But they knew the secret. Strength isn't ignoring the storm. It's standing in it without breaking. Say she ghosts you after a few good dates. Hurts. Damn right it does. You liked her laugh, the way she teased you. That's real. But instead of spiraling into why me? Or what's wrong with me? You nod at the pain like an old friend. All right, I feel this. Now what? Then you get up, hit the gym, call a buddy, do something that's yours. That's the practice. Leaning into what you control, your actions, your mind, and letting the rest fall where it falls. Let me tell you about a guy, call him Dan. Dan was deep into this woman who kept him guessing. One week she'd be all over him, the next she'd vanish. He used to lose his mind over it. Check his phone every 5 minutes, rant to me about how unfair it was. Then he stumbled into stoicism and something clicked. Next time she went quiet, he didn't text her some desperate, "Hey, you okay?" He just waited, not out of spite, but because he realized her silence wasn't his burden. He told me later, "Man, I felt this weird calm, like I didn't need her to tell me I'm all right." That's it, my friends, that's stillness. Not loud, not flashy, but solid as hell. So how do you get there? It's not magic, it's work. The Stoic philosophers tell us it starts with realizing. Realizing that every time you tie your piece to her approval, you're handing over your power. Next time you catch yourself obsessing, say she didn't laugh at your joke, or she's flirting with some other guy at the bar, stop. Ask, why am I letting this shake me? The answer's usually the same, because you've pegged your worth to her reaction. Cut that cord. Tell yourself, my strength's in me, my choices, my character, my grind. Then act on it. Walk away from the bar if you need to. Send a text or don't. But do it from a place of clarity, not desperation. And yeah, it's messy at first. You'll slip, chase that validation, feel that pang when she doesn't pick you. I've been there too. But every time you pull back, every time you choose internal strength over external noise, it sticks a little more. Seneca would say, you're training your soul to be its own master. Imagine that, walking through life, dating or not, with a quiet power that doesn't need her yes to feel whole. That's not just attractive, it's undeniable. Not in some fake pickup artist way, but in the way a man who's faced himself shines through. Let's make it practical. She cancels plans last minute again. You're pissed, tempted to fire off something snarky. Don't. Sit with it. Feel that burn in your chest, that urge to lash out. Then let it pass. Ask, what's my move? Maybe you call it quits, calmly, no drama. Maybe you let it slide and see what she does next. But you decide from a place of stillness, not a scramble for her approval. That's the Stoic way. Action rooted in reason, not reaction rooted in need. And when you pull it off, you'll feel it, a weight lifting, a quiet settling in. That's peace, my friend, and it's yours to claim. Dear viewer, this is the ultimate Stoic wisdom. Realize this and you will find strength. Realize that the chaos, her games, her distance, her choice, it's not your anchor. You are. Focus on that internal strength, build it brick by brick, and the external stuff, it'll stop rattling you. You'll still feel the hits, rejection, longing, all of it, but they won't own you. You'll stand there, steady, with a stillness that says, I've got me. And trust me, my friend, that's when you become the kind of man no one can shake. Not her, not the world, not even yourself. Stoic philosophy tells us that true strength in relationships lies not in bending another's will to ours, but in cultivating an unshakable core of rationality and self-control within ourselves. It guides us to approach love and connection with courage, not as a desperate grasp for validation, but as an exercise in virtue, where we offer our best selves without tethering our peace to the outcome. Practice this. When the sting of rejection or the weight of uncertainty creeps in, pause, breathe, and reflect on what you can govern. Your thoughts, your actions, your dignity. By embracing this discipline, we align with the timeless wisdom of the Stoic masters, who remind us that inner tranquility, forged through reason, endures far beyond the fleeting tides of external approval.